Welcome to Regency Park. We're counting down to Croydon FC versus Playford City. Kickoff is scheduled for 2:30 p.m. this afternoon. Simon Jimenez with you today. Join us 2 minutes before kickoff to have a look at the starting squads and to begin our coverage of this match in round 14 of the RE8 National Premier League South Australia.
Today we celebrate our amazing sponsors who are upstairs having a fantastic afternoon. So thank you all for your fantastic support for season 2026. Billwood Properties, United Precast, United Cranes and Rigging, Hunnit Group, Brazale Group, SR Asphalt, James Devitt Construction, On the Butchers, Artisan Joinery, Steadfast Solar, Pittsburgh Homes, Factory, Enzo's at Home.
For over 25 years, HPG Homes have been helping South Australians build and own their dream home. Whether it's a house and land package, custom build or development, our HPG fixed price guarantee ensures no nasty surprises or price changes along the way. We're committed to quality, affordability and creating a way of life for you and your family. Fixed price turnkey. It's gotta be HPG. HPG Homes.
Ready to play?
I think the people involved, you get to meet a lot of people in football, and that's just one of the great things. Not only is the sport great, but the people involved, so fellow referees, players, coaches, even fans. I love officiating because it keeps me involved in football. I was a player, but I don't reckon I could cut it out there anymore, at least at any decent level. But as a referee, I get to be involved in high levels of football. Keeps me involved, keeps me fit, and is great fun. I think I have a moment of this is why I do this every week. It's always good fun to get out there, and there are tough moments, but being resilient and succeeding, even just in the little things throughout a match. I think embracing challenges is such an important skill to learn, and as a referee you'll surely come across a lot of them, and I certainly have. I reckon give it a go. You will face challenges, but that's a part of it, and I think embracing challenges is such an important skill to learn.
At Service FM, we know every workplace is different. Every challenge is unique. That's why we personalise our services to our customers' different needs across different industries. From medical to mining and manufacturing, hospitality to healthcare, commercial to defence. So when you need to create a better work environment, you need Service FM. Proud partner with Football South Australia.
Adelaide wakes up with 5AA, David Penberthy and Will Goodings. Tom Wren for sport, Jade Robran on the scene as it happens. Jess Adamson with the news that matters to Adelaide. Breakfast with David and Will, bringing together the names you trust with everything you need to know to start your day. Always live, always local and only on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Welcome to round 14 of the RAA National Premier League South Australia. This afternoon, it's Croydon FC versus Playford City. Before we talk more about the match that we all came to see, a quick look at the table before the commencement of round 14. West Torrens-Pacalla sitting atop of the league, just 1 point above Metro. Adelaide City currently in third, trailing Metro Stars by 3 points. They both play later tonight. Playford City, Adelaide United, FK Beergrad, in that order, round out the top six. Meanwhile, down the other end, Croydon currently sit in 8th, equal points with Campbelltown in 7th, and just 1 point behind FK Beergrad, who occupy the lowest final spot. So top six is potentially up for grabs today. With some of this round already having been played out, we're going to have a look at the live ladder soon, as well as recap those earlier fixtures. But now let's talk about the two teams about to kick off. For Croydon, 2 changes made by head coach George Sonis following last week's defeat away to league leaders West Torrens-Pacalla. A close game, but it was Pacalla's George Blackwood who scored the sole goal to claim all 3 points. And today for Croydon, in come Oscar Slattery and Christopher Vivian. Out come Thomas Masrantoni and Alexander Good. 2 changes also for Playford City made by a birthday boy today, Ben Moore. Happy birthday to him. Since last week's 2-2 draw with Adelaide Comets, if they win today, they can end a 5-week winless streak. And a couple big changes for Playford ahead of today's game as well. In comes Santiago Tabares, and also returning from injury seemingly, Tyson Harriman makes his return to this Playford squad. Out come Daniel Ryan and Bailey Truscott. Our officials today, Christian Vidicchio, Mark Padros and Dama Davis. Simon Jimenez keeping you company for the next 90 minutes of football. A slight delay in getting these players out, ready to start play, but gives us a chance to talk a bit more about something else that pertains to both of these teams, and that is the World Cup. Currently, we are on the eve of that big game between the Socceroos and Turkey tomorrow, and there's a few players that are tied to each of these clubs. There was a great piece about Croydon FC, and in particular Motore, talking about his junior years with this club. He said during that piece that he catches most of the NPL games he can, so on the off chance we've got some viewers today from the Socceroos camp, want to wish you all the best. And in terms of those players for the Socceroos that have the ties to these two clubs, Motore and Tete Yengi both played some junior football with Croydon. Awa Mabil played some junior football with Playford. And then, I guess, more widely to do with South Australian football, Paul Izzo, of course, Nestori Irankunda. Both clubs observing a minute of silence before kick-off today. This is the first of the games to kick off in the RAA NPLSA for round 14 this afternoon, but we did get some action underway last night. In fact, 2 games. First one, Campbelltown and West Torrens-Pacalla. That was a fascinating one because it looked like the home team, the underdogs in Campbelltown, were going to take their 1-0 lead all the way to 90 minutes, but in the 88th minute, George Blackwood came to spoil the party with a goal, and 10 minutes later, 98th minute, Chris Christophilos scored from the spot to put West Torrens-Pacalla 2-1 up at the death and claim the win. With that loss to Campbelltown, it does have some implications for Croydon today in particular. But the other game last night, Adelaide Comets and West Adelaide, it was a double header at Ellis Park with both the women and men's senior teams hosting West Adelaide. And in the men's, Adelaide Comets got a big 3-2 win against West Adelaide, They scored the first 3 goals, and it was enough to keep West Adelaide at bay, who got 2 back in the end. And in terms of the standings, I mentioned that Campbelltown loss. They did go into this round locked for points with Croydon, so if Croydon get the win this afternoon, or even just a draw, they'll leapfrog Campbelltown and claim 7th spot. FK Beograd still above them, but they play Playford with a 3 o'clock kickoff this afternoon. So plenty up for grabs for Croydon, who are knocking on the door of that top 6, desperate to secure finals places and give themselves a chance at the 2026 championship title. You can see the banner there, pride of place here at Regency Park. Croydon FC, the 2025 NPL champions. Final preparations underway for these 2 sides. As we said, 2 changes for each of these teams in terms of form going into this. Croydon, safe to say it's been patchy. No real runs of form. Wins here and there, but not enough to really challenge that upper end of the table. And in terms of Playford, they started strongly, but seem to have taken a bit of a dip in, well, the last 5 weeks at least. They haven't had a win for the last 5 rounds. So it's seen them slide down the ladder a little bit, but a couple of bigs in today. Santiago Tabares and the defender Tyson Harriman as we get underway here at Regency Park. And the first throw-in will be taken by Playford's Sean Harvey. Playford in a kit that we don't see them in a whole lot, the blue over maroon with white shorts. I imagine Playford maybe a little bit grateful to be playing on the road this week, given the rain that we had in Adelaide overnight and even this morning as well. We've got some heavy decks around the place, and I'd imagine they'll probably be happy that they're not hosting games on their home grass pitch. And even just a little bit more pleasant and less muddy for the players as well as preserving the turf at home. Our first goal kick will be taken. Margoush picks out Slattery, and Kato runs in to get a quick touch and takes a deflection on the way out, so it will be another Croydon throw-in. Freddie Muller, the exciting 19-year-old, to take it, and eventually finds a Japanese import in Yuya Kato. It's Tyson Harriman having some early involvement for Playford City on his return fixture. Here's Bolmaport. Finds Kato the target man again, but spilled once more. Bolmaport comes out again, but he's going to make a bit of a dash to get back into position. Not needed as Croydon win it back. There's Passia John, who's seemingly had a bit of a haircut in recent weeks. Styles looking for John, but it goes out. It will be a Playford City throw-in. So Croydon 8th on the ladder going into this round. Playford 4th. 5 wins to Croydon at this point. 6 to Playford. Very condensed ladder at the moment, especially when you look at those teams, I guess, from 4th all the way down to 9th at the moment. 6 losses, though, to Croydon's compared to Playford's just 2. So fair few draws for Playford, especially in recent weeks. For the home side, as we set up their top, they're even with Campbelltown. Below, they've got West Adelaide, who failed to get a win last night. And Croydon have lost the last 2 home games, interestingly. against FK Beergrad and Metro Stars, so they'll be keen to get back in the winning column at Regency Park. In terms of Playford, although they have sort of slid down the ladder a little bit, Adelaide United are still a little bit of a way off there. 4 points off the pace to them as Bomberpaw comes in and gets the first touch ahead of Santiago Tabares, and it's Margush that finds Vivian. Under a lot of pressure from Christos Penendez, but he manages to get out of there. Fortunately, it was the loose touch of Shoto Babasaki that puts it out for a Croydon throw-in. Finds Kato, who left it, but unfortunately to one of his opposite shirt. Woolard did well to find his target long, but he was under a little bit of pressure. And it goes out for a Playford throw-in inside of their attacking third. Here's Tabares. V. Lucas Klimek. Tabares gets beyond two, and eventually Vivian has to go to ground to try and win it back. It will be a goal kick the way of Croydon. As we said already, 1-0 loss to Croydon last week against West Torrens Bacala, thanks to George Blackwood's 54th minute goal. Not able to get points against the current league leaders for Playford. It was a 2-2 draw against Comets. They conceded in the 4th and 26th minutes. They got 2 back, but it wasn't enough to claim all 3 points and in that winless streak. Christos Penendez and Patrick McGregor scoring in the 59th and 72nd minute consecutively. As far as goals scored for each of these teams in their campaign so far, it's Playford City that are a little bit more prolific. They've scored 30 in the 13 matches prior to today, and 22 scored by Croydon up until this point. Styles has a bit of time to assess his options, and he's using every little second of it. Finds Martinello, who just slips it through to Slattery. Cross comes in and Trimboli goes for it. Kato. And it ends up hitting the body of Luke Hosby in goals for Playford City. Slattery now breaks free of that shirt pull, but it was seen by our referee in Christian Vidicchio, and it will be a free kick. Been a little bit back and forth in the first 6.5 minutes of this fixture. What can this early set-piece opportunity present for Croydon FC, though? It's going to be Adam Martinello that takes it, the vice-captain. Lands just outside of the 6-yard box, not out of danger yet for Playford. Eventually the visitors do clear his Santiago Tabares, who is rapid down the wing. He comes into the squad today, but spills it this time. Now here's Bolmaport. He's looking for Styles in the middle. It eventually finds Klimek, who feeds it back to Slattery. There's the cross, but only into the hands of Luke Hosby. He's been predictably one of the standout goalkeepers so far this year. Luke Hosby, in fact, 2 very solid keepers for both of these teams. Really experienced. Luke Hosby, 35 years of age. Daniel Margush, who's on the ball now, 28 years of age. Margush with a good deal of A-League experience, most of which is with Western Sydney Wanderers, who he made 29 appearances with. Luke Hosby been playing his trade mostly at the top level of South Australian football, mainly with Adelaide City, who he debuted for back in 2010. Also spent some time with Metro Stars and also Elizabeth Vale. Here's Margush again. Bombs it long. See, John goes up. He doesn't get the touch to it, but eventually it falls to his feet. Here's Styles. Managed to pick out Slattery, who'll try to get it past Harvey. Does, sends the cross in, and he finds Cato, but that header just lots over the crossbar. That player with the last touch there, Yu Cato, came into the Croydon side during the off-season. After a pretty impressive season with West Adelaide, where he helped him gain promotion. He's filled a bit of a void left by Croydon's outgoing Japanese import, who left at the conclusion of last year. And safe to say he's done a fair job so far. 5 goals scored by Yu Cato, the leading goal scorer for Croydon. Luca Trimboli is the second best at the moment with 4 goals. Here's Martinello, tries to slip it through Cato, who gets there. Forced to retreat momentarily. Here's Passia John. He switched back and tried to centre it there, but just went into traffic. And it looks like Croydon FC have won the throw-in. Lukasz Klimek will take it. Mr. Polonia, as he's become affectionately known. Captain Croydon, whatever you want to call him. He's been a Croydon man since under 14 and played in excess of 450 senior games, all for them. Menendez wins the header just ahead of Klimek, but the ball's still switching sides a fair bit. Croydon go all the way back to Margush, who's now being pursued by Santiago Tabares himself, but they eventually managed to clear, but looks like Playford will come back and try to advance again. That was well won by Yu Cato, or that possession for Croydon short-lived, and Playford win the free kick. Menendez will go up for it. He does get the header to it, but Bomapur's able to clear. Not completely out of danger yet as it's launched from distance. Bomapur again is the one to get in front of it, but Christian Vidicchio, I was wondering for a second if he was pointing to the spot or pointing to Daniel Margush. It looks like it was Margush. The way Christian Vidicchio, no, he wasn't. It was in fact to the spot. So Margush still will have something to do, and that's to stop this early penalty. So a chance for Playford to get in front in the 13th minute. And they convert it. 1-0 up the way of the visitors. And it's Isaac Mullen who's done the business. 13th minute on the One World LED and Sportal System scoreboard for all your indoor and outdoor LED solutions. And with that, Playford's leading goal scorer can add 1 to his tally. Currently sitting on 9 at the moment so far, Isaac Mullen. A little bit of a subdued atmosphere at Regency Park, I think it's fair to say. Maybe the weather over the night put a little bit of a dampener on things. It's, I guess, when you got out of bed this morning, didn't seem like the best football day, and nonetheless, the loyal supporters have come out, and it is Sponsors Day here today at Regency Park too. Small contingent of visitors with Playford who were a little bit quiet themselves when they went up just about a minute or so ago. Sometimes an early goal like this is the sort of thing that lights a match under a game. Christian Vidicchio waves that on and play will continue. Finds Penendez, who goes back to Mullen. With Harriman now, who plays Woolard on down that left-hand attacking side. Flag goes up. There'll be a Croydon free kick. So this will be big for Playford to have found their nose in front at this early stage. Like we said, trying to turn around their recent form without a win in the last 5 weeks, which is maybe a little bit surprising given how consistent they'd been within the opening quarter of this RAA NPLSA season. I see John tried to send it towards Luca Trimboli, but it's a little bit loose. They do win a corner kick though. While we do set up for this, and it looks like it's going to be Ned Stiles that sends it on, I'll talk about the other matches that are yet to kick off this afternoon. We've got 2 3 o'clock fixtures. Para Hills and FK Beergrad. As a matter of fact, I lie, that's the only other one in the RAA NPLSA, because Metro Stars and Sturt Lions will kick off at 5:15 this afternoon, and Adelaide United Youth will host Adelaide City at Service FM at 7:30 as Stiles chips it in. Falls to Passia John, who sends it skyward. Martinello trying to win it high. Bolmaport swings and only gets a loose touch on it. It's going to go out now, and it will be another Croydon. It looked like it was going to be a Croydon throw-in, but Ned Stiles has kept it in for us. And now it's going to be that Croydon free kick. That 2-on-1, a little bit too much to deal for, and all things considered, Croydon do well to get a shot at this. Five or six players just on the edge of that 6-yard box that'll go up for this. Looks like it's gone over all the traffic in the middle, and Passia John will gather it and Playford deal with immediate danger. Ned Stiles tried to give a shot at it. And now Croydon are coming forward again. Passia John goes back to Muller. Under a little pressure in that instance is Vivian, and Martinello comes to assist. And it finally goes out. Last touch from Ned Stiles, so it will be a play for throw-in. Here's Mullen. A little chip over the top of Muller, and Tabaris will struggle to get to it. Marbush finds Klimek. Now it's with Bolmapore. Trimboli battling to get the touch to it, but Playford do well. Babasaki just trying to make sure he doesn't step into an offside position, and does well because he gets the first touch on it. He's got Vivian to get past. Tabaris, the intended target. Mullen shoots. And it's a bobbling, slightly awkward ball. I think he probably mishit it, but corner kick's going to be the result at the Playford City attacking end. While we get ready for this corner, let's talk a little bit about how these two teams finished last year for Croydon. They were ultimately the side that won the main bragging rights, the RAA NPLSA champions. They finished third in the table in the premiership race, but got the job done on the most important day of the year, the grand final, with that big win against Metro Stars. Playford sent it in. In terms of Playford, finished 8th in their first year back in the RAA NPLSA, so for them to get such a strong start to the season looked like it was going to, I guess, demonstrate some continuous improvement. Where they are in the ladder at the moment in 4th, not a bad look at the moment at all, but regardless, they'll still want to turn around their recent form, and a win away from home today would be actually absolutely huge in doing so for them. The other team that went up from the HPG Home State League 1 at the end of the 2024 year with Playford City was West Torrens Bacallum. We've seen the continuous improvement from them because they currently sit at the top of the RAA NPLSA ladder. Babasaki manages to find Mullen. Ball goes back to him. He's got Tabaris in the middle as well as Penendez. Some help arrives just on time from Patrick McGregor, but sent high and wide in the end. Another ball for Daniel Margush, and these opportunities adding up for Playford City. They got that one already from the pen. 13th minute, and Isaac Mullen converted. And they're hunting for their second. Here's Yuya Kato. Clement slips it to Martinello. Judges that well to Shake Pratt. Styles finds Muller all alone on the wing. Quick look over the shoulder from Santiago Tabaris. He says, Bulmer Paw fast approaching, and they spill. That high pressure from Playford City, pretty relentless at the moment. It's paid some dividends early. Really just making sure that this home side aren't able to settle into a rhythm. That was a really good work from Oscar Slattery there to get it out of danger, but eventually it does roll out. They've done all the hard work, but the loose ball in the end that will go to Playford's way with the throw-in. Menendez goes up. Tabaris gets a touch, but it's already crossed the line. Muller chooses Martinello. 3 players now trying to pursue Muller. It's just indicative of that pressure that Playford have been applying, but it's left Klimek in a little bit of space on the far side, and he's had enough time to play it to Passia John. Reinforcements arrive, so he managed to kick it just before being dispossessed by 2. Now it's Playford on the break once more. Here's Santiago Tabares. Finds Mullen with a little ball over the top to Allgate. He's not able to get beyond Bulmer Paw though. Now we're going back the other way once more. Here's Trimboli. Turns around and finds Passia John. He's got some space to go into before he's accosted by 3 Playford players. Ball comes in from Trimboli and ends up being a defensive header. In fact, it might have been one of the Croydon players that got the final touch on that, because Luke Hosby is gathering that ball for a goal kick. 23 minutes gone on the One World LED and Sportal System scoreboard. For all your indoor and outdoor LED solutions, it's Simon Jimenez keeping you company for this fixture of round 13 of the RAA National Premier League South Australia. Muller is calling for an option on this occasion. Playford decided to just sit off a little bit and give him a little bit of space to play. Doing the same for Margush at the moment, but Menendez is slowly stalking. Margush has seen Pasir John floating forward and decided he was a good option. But Playford managed to clear. Now it's Shoto Babasaki. Nice ball long, but like Santiago Tabares wasn't able to shake Luke Klimek. Pasir John finds Trimboli, and he sees Oscar Slattery presenting on the far side. He's got the footwork to get beyond the first defender, but Harriman was floating there ready to put it out, and some little after opportunity from Pasir John, and gave the home tide something to get excited about for a moment. Not to be. A little bit of light rain just falling now above Regency Park. Won't really bother spectators or players at the moment, because Croydon fans have a beautiful undercover stand to sit under now since their move a couple of kilometres up the road. Players have a beautiful artificial pitch that, even under downpour, has plenty of traction. Of course, the boots won't get dirty as well. Just ticked over 3 o'clock, and that means that the other game will be getting underway as we speak, if no further delays. Para Hills and FK Beergrad, and that game has some potential implications for Croydon especially, because if FK Beergrad do suffer a loss in that game, then they leave the door open for Croydon to jump into the top 3. So if Croydon do manage to take 3 points, reduce that deficit and get their nose back in front, I'm sure they'll be rushing out back to the change rooms to catch the last half hour or so of that fixture on the other side of town. Bomberport was looking for Trimboli, but it's spilled Ethan Allgate. Xavier Pratt finding himself in a little bit of bother, and it's turned over. Oscar Slattery again, all on his own on that left-hand side. Cross comes in. But it's all Playford City players. Muller finds Slattery, who gets a tiny little ball to Yuya Kato. Back with Slattery. Trimboli's in the middle, but doesn't get past Harriman. He'll go back to Muller and try again, or he'll send a cross of his own. Klimek finds John. Sends in Trimboli with his back to goal, and the shot from Klimek, and we're tied up. 28th minute equaliser from the captain puts us back on even terms. And who else but Mr. Bologna, captain Croydon, Lukas Klimek, to come in, grab this game by the scruff of the neck and tie things back up again. So for the home side, they've equalised now. Can they put their nose back in front ahead of half-time? It must be said that most of the opportunities have been favouring Playford to this point. When Croydon have gone forward, it seems to be mainly down the left-hand side. They're finding Slattery, but it's not really over those balls that they've had the opportunity. It's really when the clearances haven't been executed perfectly, where they've had the shot, as it sort of was in that instance. As far as Playford goes, though, they'll be desperate to put themselves back in front this afternoon and put themselves back into the winners column after being absent from it in the last 5 weeks. And on top of it, I imagine that's probably a bit of a birthday wish for their coach as well today, Ben Moore. Klimek tried to get through traffic on his own, but it's one. Tavares finds himself with the ball dropping at his feet. Slip through to Babasaki. Margush is there, deals with it. John. Not sure if he had an intended target at that moment or was just trying to get it out of a little bit of a danger zone. Long ball over the top, searching for Allgate. His throwing for Playford will be just outside of their attacking third. Tavares, the most advanced player for Playford, right in the middle. He's got Bolmapore watching him. Trimboli finds Babasaki, who goes to ground. And the yellow card is out. That's going to be the first booking of this game. And it's Xavier Pratt wearing the number 14 for Playford, who is the recipient. Admittedly, it was a little bit of a sedate start to this game, and even when Playford were given the penalty and scored, not a huge amount of reaction from the crowd below us, but the game sort of settled in and brought a little bit more excitement as this half ticks over. We're at 31 minutes now on the One World LED and Sportal System scoreboard for all your indoor and outdoor LED solutions. One each. Isaac Mullen doing his job with a pen. And Lukasz Klimek equalising 13th minute and 28th minute. Here's Yu Kato, who would love to get on the board. Shakes his marker. Ends up sending it wide. Mendes goes up, gets ahead to it, but Bolmapore for Croydon can bomb it forward. Trimboli, full jump and full stretch, goes down, and Croydon will try their luck from the spot now. A little bit difficult to judge the distance from where we're sitting at the moment, and indeed it looks like Martinello's looking for another option rather than going straight to goal. Here's Muller. Finds Slattery, who eventually managed to shake his marker and sends the cross in. Here's Klimek. He sends one in of his own, but it'll go out. And it looks like it's going to be a Croydon corner. Ned Stiles seems to be the man that will take this, doing the job so far from that attacking right-hand side for Croydon. And line this up for a left-footed in-swinger. Plenty of numbers in the box for Playford. And it eventually goes to the keeper. It's Luke Hosby that just helps it over the crossbar. So they'll get another corner now. Landed it right on the keeper's head the last time. Where's he going to send this time? The goal line is just a little bit more congested at the moment. Looks a little bit like a conga line from where we're standing. Plenty of players there, so I imagine that's probably going to land right in about the same spot. Luke Hosby is going to have a lot of traffic to deal with if it does land there. It's Passia John that comes in with a run from the back post. They're not out of danger yet as Bombapour tries to juggle it under control, but ends up being a loose one for Tabaris to pick up. He's got Klimek to shake, and he can't shake that sliding tackle. Looks like a man down for Croydon at the moment. And it looks like it's Luca Trimboli. Luke Hosby, to his credit, was the player beckoning the referee, and Christian Vidicchio is going to have a look. The trainers come on for Croydon. Didn't see the clash, but while you're watching on FSA Leagues, you can just scroll back to it to have a little bit of a closer look. My initial reaction would be it's somewhat concerning that rather than tending to a limb, the trainer's just having a quick little chat to Luca Trimboli, which my reaction to that would be thinking they're probably talking about something he went into this game with rather than to deal with a bump that he's received. Now, Oliver Trimboli's at his feet warming up. At the moment, Luca Trimboli's just getting a quick drink of water, and he did jog off of the pitch, so I'd imagine he'll come on and at least try to shake whatever that was off. 36 minutes rather now, and he'll probably try to make it to half-time. Looks like he will get ready to come back on, and he looks perfectly fine from where we're standing at the moment. Ethan Allgate, the throw-in taker for Playford. Tavares gets the foot to it and puts it out. Must have caught a Croydon player on the way out because Allgate will have another go at it. Sends it into the 18-yard box to awaiting Xavier Pratt. And it goes out again. Mullen ends up on the end of a loose header and then fires something back loose of his own and puts it into the car park. While we do have a little pause, while we get another ball, let's talk about our major naming rights sponsor of the RAA National Premier League South Australia. RAA, chat to a local who backs you and your team. It's better to be a member with RAA. Kato finds Muller. Babasaki is chasing him, but Muller's able to send a cross in, and Luke Hosby sees it well out and is able to come out and get a punch. It's Trimboli that picks up the scraps, and eventually it goes out. Last touch from Croydon. It will be Ethan Allgate taking another throw in. One back by Stiles, but under fire from Santiago Tabares. Muller just looking for options. He has none but to keep it for himself, and eventually goes out. Well, looks in that instance like he felt it better to just play the ball into a little bit of space rather than to find any target in particular. Cato gets the better of that little exchange, and Slattery. And eventually the back of the net's bounced. We're a little bit confused about what's happened there. There's a flag that's gone up. And now finally a celebration. (2-1) the score now at Croydon. So the home team has managed to get themselves in front ahead of half-time. I can see that Oscar Slattery is the player being congratulated at the moment. I think he was the one that played it goalward. And the ground MC's just credited to him as well, Oscar Slattery. I'll be curious to have a look at that one at half-time to see if the camera angle tells me anything more. It looks like it came in. There was a brief celebration after it bounced off the bottom of the crossbar, so it could have been off of that initial ball in from Oscar Slattery, but regardless of how it got over the goal line, the score now 2-1 favouring the visitors in the 40th minute. Just one goal before today from Oscar Slattery, so with that second he ties himself in the golden boot race for Croydon with Ned Stiles. And interestingly, just going back a little bit further, looks like Lukas Klimek hasn't scored before today this year, so he joins the race on one. This one will fall to Slattery again. But it will go out off his last touch. Nice ball from McGregor to find Allgate. There's some help from Tabares. Muller goes up. Martinelli does too. And Slattery with a nice little chip. Lands between Trimboli and Cato. Finds Stiles. John again eventually sends in the cross. That's deflected. Possibly could have tried to take a shot a little bit earlier in that instance, but that throw in an advanced position, not a bad outcome. Lukas Klimek to take. He's trying to get every little bit inch of run up that he can out of this pitch. Not quite enough to get into the 6-yard box. Stiles. Back to Klimek. To Martinello, who's dispossessed. Now it's Playford trying to create something on the bounce. Here's Tabares. He was looking for Mullen, but it goes to Passia John just beside him. Muller with plenty of space. And this throw-in will go the way of Playford, seemingly. Almost 44 minutes gone on the One World LED and Sportal System scoreboard. And we've got a score update from the paddocks as well. 15 minutes in FK Beergrad have already gone 1-0 up as visitors. As that ball sent goalward, and Tabaris liked his chances going on to that, but eventually goes out. So that goal for FK Beergrad, not what Croydon would be wanting at the moment. Because if Croydon do manage to get a win and FK Beergrad don't take points, that does give them the chance to go into the top 6. But we'll keep you up to date with that game throughout the afternoon. This one will finish before that one concludes, because it did kick off half an hour later, but nonetheless we might have a little bit of a better idea of how we're looking in the second half. Here's Tabaris. Finds Pratt through traffic. And that ball was looking for Shota Babasaki, but goes out. Menendez with a nice flicking header, then Tavares with 1-2 to his own feet. Bobby Paul comes in strongly as usual, puts it out. And we're ticking past the 45-minute mark now, but Playford will try to do something like Mullen. He's looking for Penedis, although it didn't get there. Here's Harriman, who's been impressive so far in his return game. He'd been absent since round 11 before coming back to start today. Tabaris, but Margush judges it perfectly, and he can take a moment to just slow things down as we tick over closer to half-time. Going to be another throw-in for Croydon. I imagine wouldn't be in a terrible hurry at the moment. I imagine that they're probably pretty pleased with their work in this first half to, after going 1-0 down, equalise and then find themselves back in front. And there is the whistle from Christian Vidicchio at the 47-minute mark. Half-time is called. So looking back at the half, that was Isaac Mullen converting off that penalty that was awarded in the 13th minute, getting Playford City off the board. Lucas Klimek responding in the 28th, and Oscar Slattery putting Croydon in front in the 40th minute. Sees the home side going 2-1 up. Now, school holidays are on the way. Get the kids together. The FSA World Champs will be open to players from under 11 mixed through to under 17 mixed. 10 players, one squad. Lock them in before someone else does. Sign up, get your country, represent your nation. It's the FSA World Champs, and you can find out more at footballsa.com.au. Time to have a quick break. We'll catch you soon for the second half.
Yo guys, you seen this? It's coming.
What do you want about?
Bro, it's actually coming.
No way.
FSA World Champs.
You guys have been asking, we listened. The FSA World Champs is coming. This school holidays, we're bringing the world stage to Adelaide. Here's the breakdown. From 11s to 17s, and everyone in between. 10 players, 1 squad. Lock them in before someone else does. Sign up, get your country, and represent your nation. Nominations are open now, but don't sleep on it, spots are limited.
For over 25 years, HPG Homes have been helping South Australians build and own their dream home. Whether it's a house and land package, custom build or development, our HPG fixed price guarantee ensures no nasty surprises or price changes along the way. We're committed to quality, affordability and creating a way of life for you and your family. Fixed price turnkey. It's gotta be HPG. HPG Homes.
I just want to make an impact.
Hop in.
Where are we going?
There are so many career paths with SAPOL, from operations to CSI. You could walk the beat or work somewhere a little quieter. If you want to make a difference, there's a career at SAPOL for you.
Hey, it's going to be all right.
Call up the search.
Find where you belong in blue. Search SAPOL Careers.
At Service FM, we know every workplace is different. Every challenge is unique. That's why we personalise our services to our customers' different needs across different industries. From medical to mining and manufacturing, hospitality to healthcare, commercial to defence. So when you need to create a better work environment, you need Service FM. Proud partner with Football South Australia.
Stayed on side, looking to put it across. Deflected and it's still alive. Turns Vidmar and Dorigo now tries to shoot. Still going. Welsh puts the ball in. And there's the goal. Who else but George Blackwood? We can't get this goal scorer wrong. He's done it 10 times.
I think the thing that most people don't realise about being a referee is how much we train. We often train twice a week as a group. Then we have coaching sessions where we go through videos and look back at past few weeks. And then any of the outside of training stuff that we do, like our gym work and watching matches back and all that. All the extra time outside of match days are the big things for us. What makes it more than just blowing a whistle is understanding football and all the different layers of football, and then adding on top of that we then have to be impartial and understand the emotion of football, and then find that balance between understanding the emotion and then understanding the laws. I've had a few grand finals that I've been lucky to be a part of, and in those kind of games with the crowds and the energy, I can just tell that the football match that's going on is so entertaining, and that I'm lucky to have one of the best seats in the house for it.
For over 25 years, HPG Homes have been helping South Australians build and own their dream home. Whether it's a house and land package, custom build or development, our HPG fixed price guarantee ensures no nasty surprises or price changes along the way. We're committed to quality, affordability and creating a way of life for you and your family. Fixed price, turnkey. It's gotta be HPG. HPG Homes.
Adelaide wakes up with 5AA, David Penberthy and Will Goodings. Tom Wren for sport. Jade Robran on the scene as it happens. Jess Adamson with the news that matters to Adelaide. Breakfast with David and Will, bringing together the names you trust with everything you need to know to start your day. Always live, always local and only on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
So the Youth Club Championship, we've designed a structure where the under 13s, under 14s, under 15s and 16s all compete together as one club. They'll play at the same venue, they'll play one after each other. It allows the technical director to be at the venue to help educate and look after the coaches, and also there's a focus on player development.
Players are now knowing where they are at and the pathway to follow each year. If they continue with the YCC, they should be in a position where they can go into senior football. It's a lot clearer around the steps they need to take to keep tracking as a player.
We've created an additional YCC training session or seminar night. All the players involved had the opportunity to do an additional skills session development plan, and we had Adrian Stanter coming in to talk about how to become a more professional player from a younger age.
The fact that as a club we are investing heavily in the juniors to ensure that we're putting those tools in place that the YCC is wanting from us, that's certainly bringing around some benefits to the club and to junior development across the board.
Everyone's trying to obtain points for their club, but also with a strong focus on how do we create a competition where players can play against like players.
The one thing I have noticed is it's been a bit more focused on getting the balance right. So, trying to keep the best teams playing against each other throughout the entire year and not having this big disparity between one team or another, one club or another.
So what it has allowed us to do is have quality games every week, which has benefited the competition and given the girls a chance to sort of understand what it's like to play at that elite level. While development is a good focus, the YCC does bring out the aspect of results as well, which helps find that balance for players to transition to senior football.
So I think with the YCC structure now in place, there's become a better level. And with a better level, there's been higher intensity within our sessions, and that's allowed for greater development in terms of a player, technically, tactically, and that's given them the best chance to keep improving their game.
Yeah, look, I think there's certainly brought around a lot of excitement to the club on YCC Day. The club's buzzing. A lot of the parents and players really enjoy seeing the kids play, and what is really now an elite pathway in junior football in our state.
Something that resonated with me right on the onset was about connecting a budding footballer with the right coach with the right club, and the right club being part of the right football environment. So the YCC tells me that this has been a fantastic implementation by Football South Australia.
Still in the box, and it's another goal!
Welcome back for the second half at Regency Park. It's round 14 of the RAA National Premier League South Australia. RAA, chat to a local who backs you and your team. It's better to be a member with RAA. This afternoon, it's the reigning champions of the NPL 2025. Croydon FC hosting Playford City. For Croydon, the form's been patchy for the starting half of the season. They're looking to try thread some wins together. For Playford City, they've been on a bit of a slide for the last 6 weeks, winless in the last 5 matches, so they're hoping to turn the tide. And both sides had sniffs of being in front in the first half, but ultimately it was Croydon who went into the break 2-1 up. Playford were in front with that penalty that Isaac Mullen converted in just the 13th minute. Up into the point that Croydon managed to get one back. And then, indeed, they put their nose back in front to put themselves 2-1 up just before half-time. So for this second half, should be an interesting one as Playford fight desperately to try to get back to their winning ways, and Croydon trying to pick up whatever points that they can. We spoke a lot about it in the first half, the ladder position of these two sides. Playford City currently in 4th spot. And if Croydon get all 3 points today, then they've got a chance to climb the ladder. If results go their way elsewhere, and in particular I'm talking about FK Beergrad playing away at Para Hills, if FK Beergrad lose in that game, Croydon will get the chance to jump into the top 6. But at the moment, FK Beergrad are leading away from home. Meanwhile, we're back underway here at Regency Park. Croydon kicking from left to right. In the first half, hour or so of that first half, spent most of the time down Playford City's attacking half. And we seem to be starting this second half down that same end, although now that's Croydon's attacking end. Here's Trimboli. Passia John. Finds Trimboli. Here's Klimek. Slattery. And Slattery makes it 3-1. His second goal. Bookending that halftime break. He was credited here at the ground with that second goal for Croydon. And with that third one, there's absolutely no doubt about it. 3-1 the scoreline now for Croydon FC. And Playford City are already in the middle of the ground. Christos Penendez desperate to get play back underway with Santiago Tabares and try chase down this 2-goal deficit they now find themselves in. As of about 20 minutes in of the first half, you wouldn't have expected that would find ourselves in this position here now as we get back underway. McGregor just trying to shake his markers loose, and eventually it's won by Bomberport. Slattery's running forward with a fair bit of confidence at the moment, understandably so. And just as I was looking away, we've had a player go to ground for Croydon. Once I can tell you who that is, I'll get you confirmation of that. Just been looking for my notes and I've realised that they're on the roof of the canteen just below me, but it's got our goal scorer so far, so I can't add to that, but I can tell you the first goal scorer in the 13th minute, Isaac Mullen, Lucas Klimek responding for Croydon in the 28th, and Oscar Slattery in the 40th. And then in the 46th. Daniel Margush will get us back underway in a moment. Here's Bomberport. Muller had plenty of involvement throughout the first half. Finds Slattery again. We found Slattery for a moment before he got wrestled to the ground. Croydon win the free kick. Here's Martinello. Maport goes all the way back to Margush. Here's McGregor. Call for handball to deny Tabares. There's a pretty emphatic cry for handball from Tabares, and admittedly from where we stood at the moment, looked like the Croydon player's body turned with it, but Christian Vidicchio a little bit closer to the action than we are. Slattery finds Martinello, who's dispossessed by McGregor. Chip into Tabares, who just took a couple of extra touches. Has a shot now. Margush dives to deny. McGregor with a chance again. And now it's Bulmer Port. Scramble on the line for Croydon, and they get the job done to deny Playford. Now it's Croydon on the charge. Here's Yuya Kato. Let it get away from me just a little bit, and it's cleared. Looks like Ben Woolard was nursing a little bit of bump after that little collision with Cato. Sent back forward. Here's Trimboli v. Harriman. And it goes out. (3-1), favouring the home side in Croydon FC. They've lost the last two home games, so they'll be desperate to reclaim a little bit of home form. They last hosted FK Beergrad and Metro Stars. 2 weeks playing away from home. They took a loss and a draw from those. They got so close to defeating the league leaders in West Torrens Bacala, if not for George Blackwood's 54th minute goal last week. Klimek. Looks like he didn't manage to find Passia John, but Croydon will get another chance to attack now. Here's Muller. Slattery. They go all the way back to Margush. When these two sides played in round 3 of this year back on March 14th, it was Playford that took a 2-0 victory at home. The first scorer, as it was in this game, Isaac Mullen. Christos Penendes sealing it in the 67th as Christian Vidicchio waves his yellow card here. I believe it was Ethan Allgate that got the yellow in that instance. We saw one yellow in the first half as well, and that one went to Xavier Pratt. Also for Playford as Muller scrambles to control that. Gets some help from Bulmer, and they find themselves in attack once again. Styles finds Slattery. Passia John's an option on the far side, and they ended up thumping it goalward, but not one that Luke Hospital will even need to try to get in front of. Penendes flicks it on into the path of Allgate. Himet goes to ground to claim that and commits a foul in the process. Correction, must have been Allgate that committed the foul in that instance because Croydon have won the free and Margush has sent the troops upfield. As the sun rears its head above Regency Park, I think for the first time today we're seeing a little bit of sunshine. Still a little bit gloomy above Adelaide at the moment. The lights are on at Regency Park, but I think we are still seeing some sunshine for the first time today, which is a little bit pleasant. Plenty of rain. Doesn't affect the ground here at Croydon, given it is artificial, and very good artificial deck at that. We did see some games cancelled in the under-18s and reserves, and also one in the Apex Steel WNPL between Football SA and Mowbray Vista a little bit earlier today. Fortunately, all the other senior games this afternoon going ahead, which is great news. Pasir John, a little bit of a loose touch, which sees him spill. Mullen to Penendez, who uses his back to evade Styles. And now Playford we're sharing the ball around pretty well. Trimboli slipped it to Pasir John, but the flag is already up. Looked for a moment like Playford were sharing the ball between each other fairly well, until all of a sudden that high pressure from Croydon looked like they were under pursuit a little bit, and Christian Vidicchio has called that back for Osby to retake that free kick, and he didn't look like the way he did it the second time either, and he's given a little bit of a talking to. He's got to be careful here, Osby, because it looks like Vidicchio's no, he's not going to give a talking to. All he's going to do is tell him exactly where he wants to take the free kick from. So he moves it back a few yards. Osby now can thump it forward. Here's Santiago Tabares just ahead of Vivian and gets a shot, but it's judged very well by Vivian to get a quick deflection on it and deny him in that instance. Approaching the 1 hour mark, 57 minutes on the One World LED and Sportal System scoreboard for all your indoor and outdoor LED solutions. Bulmer Powell shows his flexibility in getting in front of that and eventually clears it properly. No changes as of yet for either team. What changes will they look to make at this stage? Playford in trying to chase down this deficit. I think they have good attacking guns on the field now as Babasaki gets past Margush. Cuts it back, gives him a chance to recover. Found the head of Patrick McGregor, but he was just beyond the far post, and the best he can do is put it into the outside of the netting. Going back to the bench situation, what do you do from here? We saw two changes from Playford compared to last week's starting 11 going into this. Tyson Harriman was one of the players that came in. He'd been absent since round 11. Coming back as a side, you'd say that he was a big in for them, and you'd imagine him to be the favoured defensive option. In terms of attacking prowess, with the likes of Babasaki, Penendez, Tabares, and even Isaac Mullen in midfield, they're the sort of combo that you'd usually entrust to get some goals. A little bit of wrestling move paying out. The cards will stay in Christian Vidicchio's pocket. Just going back to the Playford bench situation. Cameron Harris, Braden French, Bailey Truscott, Daniel Ryan, Jackson Kurtz, and Anthony Pictionary. The players in reserve today. As Ned Stiles threads it through. Cato! And that's beautifully done to put them 4-1 up. 59th minute, 60th rather. And Croydon possibly delivering the killer punch. 4-1 the score here at Regency Park. Well, they're running away with it now, Croydon. You could have argued going into this game, these two sides quite evenly matched. Even though Playford are ahead on the ladder, their form's been a little bit subpar going into this game. Croydon, their form has been up and down. Last two home matches, they've lost. But it's huge so far. And looks like we have got a statement from Croydon if they can hold on to this lead. It was the captain, Lucas Klimek, that opened the scoring for Croydon in response to the Isaac Mullen penalty. That put Playford ahead initially. Oscar Slattery, a brace, both before and after the halftime break. Then Yuya Kato, leading scorer for Croydon, gets his 6th for the year and his first of today. And the way they're going at the moment, you wouldn't put it past Croydon to get a couple more before the afternoon is up. With Campbelltown's loss last night, 3 points will put Croydon up the ladder. If the FK Beergrad situation with their away game against Para Hills goes their way, they can even find themselves in the top 6. At the moment, though, half-time at the Paddocks, FK Beergrad are currently leading 2-0. Adelaide United Youth also in that mix there. They play a little bit later tonight against Adelaide City. That's the last game for round 14 of the RAA National Premier League South Australia. Chat to a local who knows you and your team. It's better to be a member with RAA, and the other game to kick off a little bit later, 5:15 at TK Shuttle Reserve. Metro Stars hosts Sturt Lions. I'll be there keeping you company on FSA Leagues if you want to tune in for the doubleheader. And you can't talk about this weekend of football without mentioning the Socceroos tomorrow. We'll touch more on that in a moment, though, because Playford have just made a double change. Sean Harvey and Xavier Pratt coming off. Bailey Truscott is one of the players that have just come on. And as soon as I get a look at the second, I'll tell you who that is too. Actually, I can do that right now for you. Braden French, number 3 and number 8, coming on in the 63rd for Playford. Those Croydon players on the bench still warming up. Be curious to see if George Sasonis does make any change in it, as if so, what that'd be. Oliver Trimboli is still on the bench. In recent weeks, he's been used as a straight swap for his brother, Luca Trimboli. Usually he's a goal threat type of player, so I'd imagine they're probably content with the 4 at the moment. Alexander Good also on the bench. James Polly. Maybe a handy little reinforcement in defence. Nathan Owen, another defender. Santana Bartkowski, striker. Imagine he possibly won't be used. And Matthew Woity, the backup keeper, who already played 90 minutes with the reserves, so I imagine he won't be used. Managed to keep a clean sheet as well. The other players out in the middle today, Christian Vidicchio, our referee, Mark Padros and Damien Davis, the assistants. Martinello finds Slattery, who's already got 2. He's got a little bit of space to do something with this and sends it goalward. I'm not sure if that was a shot of his own or he was looking for Passia John on the far post, but either way, it will go out. In terms of standout players today, you'd absolutely have to put Slattery in the conversation. He's found himself in a ton of space on the left-hand side. And on top of that, converted twice. Couple of players for Croydon today that managed to find their way into the 2025 NPLSA Team of the Year at the conclusion of the last year. Adam Martinello was one of them, and Bolmaport another. Actually, I believe Daniel Margush was in the mix as well. There was 2 players that eventually played in that game that faced Adelaide United at season's end. It was Daniel Margush and Cody Ostreich from Metro Stars. I believe Margush was the player that made the official final 11, if my memory serves me correctly, but they were both there that day. Here's Styles. Trimboli, John and Cato in the middle, but he won't get a chance to release it as he's tackled strongly by Bailey Truscott. The sub that came on about 3 minutes ago now. Looks like, speaking of subs, we're going to have a bit of movement off the Croydon bench. We mentioned the prevalence of a Trimboli for Trimboli's spot, and it looks like it's going to be one of those again. Oliver will come on in a moment. Right after this free kick plays out. Cato sends it in, but falls a little bit short. Gets another chance to send it goalward. Trimboli goes over the top, and it's put out by Braden French. We'll see that change now. Or perhaps we won't. We'll see another set play eventuate before we do. Ned Styles, he took the left-footed in-swinger from the opposite side earlier today. Now to a left-footed out-swinger from the opposite corner. Falls to the head, all the space between the heads of Bolmapor and Christos Penendis. It's dealt with by Playford, at least initially. Here's Muller to give Croydon another chance. And Luke Osbar won't have any issue with that. Croydon seem to be playing with the confidence now that they're 4-1 up. And we're going to see changes on both benches. Triple substitution for Playford. We saw 2 already. We're going to see a couple more. Patrick McGregor coming off. Jackson Kurtz has come on. Looks like Santiago Tabares has come off as well. Daniel Ryan has come on. And Anthony Piccineri is the 3rd player that has come on. I can't tell you as of yet who the 3rd player to come off was. I believe it may have been Christos Penendis. In fact, I'll commit that to paper, Christos Penendis. So Daniel Ryan, Jackson Kurtz, Anthony Piccineri 5 players coming on for Playford City, which means they've now emptied the bench to try and respond and reduce this 4-1 lead that Croydon have found themselves in. Despite going down initially, they're in the box seat now, and we mentioned Oliver Trimboli warming up, getting ready to come on, but in the triple substitution of Playford, we've forgotten about him, but he is on. Oliver Trimboli to come on for Luca Trimboli now. Trimboli for Trimboli swap. Here's Playford. Kurtz goes back to Truscott. Goes out for a Croydon throw-in. And Croydon have the luxury of being able to burn a little bit of time now. Klimek, not a great deal of... Well, he didn't have a ball even if he wanted to take it, but I'm sure he's not demanding that it be returned any quicker than it needs to. Sent down the line. Pasir John just trying to shake Ethan Allgate. Here's Martinello, who puts it out via the leg of Allgate, winning a throw-in. $71 gone on the One World LED and Sportal System scoreboard for all your indoor and outdoor LED solutions. It was Playford that found themselves on the score sheet first. Isaac Mullen converting from the pen. Lucas Klimek put Croydon back on even terms. For Oscar Slattery, put Croydon in front. He put them one more in front when they returned from the halftime break to complete his brace. And Yuya Kato making it 4-1 a little bit more recently. This game could potentially bit of a boost for goal difference as well for Croydon here, which we might come back to in a moment. Here's Klimek, sends it in. Trimboli gets ahead. Playford managed to deal with a messy ball. Just back to that point on goal difference. Just given how condensed that edge of the top 6 is and how condensed it ended up being at the end of last year too. It could conceivably come down to goal difference. I know we're still a while off of that end of the year conversation, but any advantage you can get could be a big thing. But they've currently got a goal difference of -1, Croydon, so a 3-goal win could be big for them. Here's Slattery, wants to get past Harriman. Releases it to Pasir John. He has a shot, but it's dealt with by Allgate. Back to the man working double duty on corners. Ned Stiles goes shorter this time in Martinello before sending it goalward. Muller gets ahead on it and it'll go out. It'll be another corner kick. It looks like Adam Martinello's coming and following Muller to the ball this time. I was wondering if it was going to be another short option, but looks like he might even take it. And he will. They'll take the right-footed in-swinger option rather than that left out-swinger. And that one's put into the car park off the head of Isaac Mullen. Ben Moore, coach for Playford City, on hand to get a new ball into play. Martinello to Cato. All the time in the world at the moment, Croydon, but they decide to launch it forward. Here's Klimek. Nice back heel to Trimboli. He's got Styles presenting as an option. He chooses to go wide to Slattery. Cato comes in with a slide to just put himself in the way of Harriman and wins it eventually. Here's Passia John. He's got the footwork to get past the first player, but not the second. Goal kick, Playford City. Possible change for Croydon now, and it looks like it's going to be a double. Or maybe not yet. Yuya Kato looked like the player that was coming in to go onto the bench. Here's Passia John. Goes out now. It looks like we may have that change. And they will pull the trigger on this change. Yuya Kato's been sitting back from Coof corner, so I imagine that his... Actually, I'll stop and correct myself there because he was being called to the bench, but only to have a quick word with the coach. It's Oscar Slattery that's been called to the bench. 2 goals, not a bad shift. Here's Playford. Daniel Ryan. Well won by Croydon, and Adam Martinello uses his body perfectly to just keep him at bay. Just to finish our earlier thought on the change. Santana Bartkowski, the player going on for Croydon, in place of Oscar Slattery. You can see it was a little bit of a height boost as they took that last corner. Not that Oscar Slattery's a particularly short player. Snuck through to Babasaki, but goes over that end line before he can control it. "77 minutes gone on the One World LED and Sportal System scoreboard for all your indoor and outdoor LED solutions." We were talking about Para Hills and FK Beergrad earlier, and the fact that Croydon would have been hoping that FK Beergrad would have failed to pick up 3 points in that game, but I can tell you at the 49-minute mark of that game, it's looking unlikely as FK Beergrad find themselves 3-1 in front. So since last score check, we've seen one more from FK Beergrad, but very recently, one back from Para Hills. Para Hills struggling this season, of course. They're bottom of the ladder at the moment. They had a draw that was overturned a little bit earlier in the year. Yellow card. Meanwhile, in this game is shown. Can't tell you who the recipient was. One of the Playford players. It might have been Harriman or Mullen. Harriman or Mullen. Possibly more importantly for Croydon. Chance to do something off this free kick. Martinello looked keen to let that one go out for a throw-in. Maybe use a few more seconds in the process. Sent forward to Playford, but no one's there to receive it. And again, Croydon find themselves in a position where they can eat up a little bit more time before taking this throw-in. Harriman tried to throw himself in that and his best effort to keep it in, but had already gone out. Short little delay off that throw in, and Muller was pointing at his opposition coach in Ben Moore. See, was it on a roll? Another throw in. While that's all happening on the far side, something else is happening on the far side too, and that's a sub getting ready for Croydon. Nathan Owen getting ready to come on. Defensive play came on the 60th minute mark last week. And looks like Ned Stiles can call that a day himself. He can consider that a good shift from himself as well. Here's the sub. Budkowski. Vivian. Klimek. Go over the top to find Basir John. Continues to battle with Allgate as he has all afternoon. Now it's time for a run of Playford throw-ins from the near side. Klimek thumps it onto pitch 2. Well, admittedly, hasn't been the most riveting last 5 minutes of football, but you can't blame Croydon for being happy to eat up some minutes at this stage. Of course, they haven't been intentionally eating up time, maybe been a little bit lucky with the gameplay as well, that they've been able to enjoy a couple of little delays with all the continuous throw-ins and whatnot. It is, of course, up to Playford to chase them down to reduce the deficit. Croydon can just sit and try to protect what they've already done. And Bomber Paul's done a great job just then, putting it to the feet of his opposition player for a goal kick. Contemplates going out to chase the ball himself, but there's a handy second ball there ready to go. Just we were talking about using time. You can't fault Croydon in that instance because that spare ball came from there. And in fact, 2 spare balls came pretty quickly, so you can't accuse them of trying to waste any time. Harriman plays it back to Truscott. Harriman again. Looking for Kurtz. He gets a touch and gets himself beyond Muller. But he can't beat that sideline. It will be a Croydon throw-in. Thump forward by Martinello. Allgate, his touch just spills it. Here's Klimek. Passia John in a little bit of space. He's been going head-to-head with Allgate all afternoon. That time he's not under as much pressure. Looked like Trimboli was the intended target, but sent back in by Croydon. Bartkolski. Just being helped off the ball by Tyson Harriman. Daniel Ryan furiously trying to chase down both Bolmapur and Daniel Margush. Here's Maport. Goes back to Owen, who finds Muller. Muller's been given a bit of a push right on the sideline between the benches. Gets up swiftly to continue. 86 minutes gone now on the One World LED and Sportal System scoreboard for all your indoor and outdoor LED solutions. Plenty of action still to come this afternoon on FSA leagues. If you can't get down to a game, then you can watch all the action on YouTube. 5:15 kickoff set for Metro Stars and Sturt Lions at TK Shuttle Reserve. And Service FM will host Adelaide United Youth and Adelaide City, with that game kicking off at 7:30 tonight. So a couple interesting fixtures for you to check out. And worth going down to a game to see the action in person as well. Quick little update from the other game we've been following this afternoon as well. At the Paddocks, Para Hills hosting FK Beergrad. We'll come to that in a moment. Shot comes in, it's quickly deflected. Croydon quickly take this free kick. I'll give you that score quickly from the Paddocks. Para Hills 1, FK Beergrad have just got one more. They find themselves 4-1 up. Bartkolski, Passia John arrives at the right time to support, sends the cross in. Goes over the top of Trimboli, but Cato will collect this in a little bit of space. Got Muller coming on the overlap. He's ignored. And it's Jackson Kurtz that eventually manages to clear. Not completely out of danger yet, though. Playford as Croydon try to hunt for a fifth and final for this afternoon. John back to Martinello, to Owen. Eventually back to Vivian. Not an overly clean touch from Lucas Klimek, but an effective one. Goes out for a Playford throw-in. At this point on the Playford side, I think they'd imagine that there's no chance of salvaging this. I wouldn't imagine a great deal of additional time at the end of this, because there hasn't been a terrible lot of stoppages aside from the usual substitutions. Abasaki trying to break through a little bit of traffic. Back to Harriman. Now it's with Truscott. Found Pictionary for Croydon clear. Here's Harriman. And it goes out for another play for the throw-in. Well, the 90-minute mark is on the way for us, and so are the school holidays. Get the kids together, because the FSA World Champs will be happening. Open to players from under 11 mixed right through to under 17 mixed. 10 players, one squad. Lock them in before someone else does. The FSA World Champs. Sign up, get your country, represent your nation. Find out more at footballsa.com.au. While we're all talking about the world stage, of course, Socceroos will be in action tomorrow morning in the World Cup. Turkey afternoon kickoff. Some players tied to both of these clubs in front of us. Mo Toure with Croydon. Tete Yengi spent some time in his youth career at Croydon. Awema Bill, he spent some time in his youth career at Playford City. And a couple of other South Aussie names as well. Paul Izzo, Nestori Irankunda. Other South Australian representatives, and we hope they do well tomorrow. And we, as much as we're proud of them already, hope they continue to do us proud on the world stage, starting with that big match tomorrow's. Santana Bartkowski breaks. Pasia John's furiously running forward to try to provide a little bit of assistance, but Bartkowski's surrounded by a lot of opposition shirts. Retreats into a little bit more space and finds Martinello. Here's Muller. And we've ticked over 90 minutes on the One World and Sportal System scoreboard. So this game's close moments away in round 14 of the RAA National Premier League South Australia. Chat to a local who backs you and your team. It's better to be a member with the RAA. George Sasonis has just waved all his troops back, just making sure they're awake in the dying stages of this game. Little chance of squandering this lead at this point, but you don't want to concede anything late. Again, particularly when that edge of the top six could very conceivably come down to goal difference at season's end. And our referee has blown the whistle. Christian Vidicchio puts this affair to an end. And what an afternoon it's been for Croydon. A huge result for them at home. Penalty was awarded in just the 13th minute. Isaac Mullen converted that for the visitors before the captain. Lukas Klimek got one back for Croydon in the 28th. Oscar Slattery scored one in the 40th. Just before halftime, came back from halftime, got another in the 46th minute before Yuya Kato scored the last one that Croydon needed to seal up this afternoon. Big win for Croydon. And as I said, they'll go back to watch the conclusion of this game. Para Hills and FK Beergrad, but likely, well, it will depend on Adelaide United Youth's result a little bit later today. But knocking on the door of the top six at the moment are Croydon FC, and they do what they need to do this afternoon. Time for me to say goodbye. It's been a pleasure keeping you company at Regency Park this afternoon. Join us a little bit later on FSA Leagues from TK Shutter for Metro Stars versus Sturt Lions. See you then.
No, not yet. I'm waiting for them to give me your food.